Have you ever heard of a teachable moment? Today I'm talking all about how to make the most of the time that you have with your child. Hi, I'm Rebecca with the Parent Teacher Bridge, where you can find the ideas and resources you need to empower you to become your child's most influential teacher. And today I have with me my daughter, Everly. Say hi. Okay, and Everly is with me quite a bit because we homeschool. And so Everly has two older brothers that I also homeschool as well. Now, every time that you are with your child is learning. Perhaps there's no other time that that's more evident than when our child does something that we don't like, and then we turn around and we reflect on that and we realize, oh, they probably learned that from me. So we know that children learn by example. Now, there are a lot of you out there who spend your time with your child going to and fro. You are in the school pickup line, then you have to go through the drive through, you have to go to some extracurricular activity. Think about what time you have with your child and how you can make that a teachable moment. Now, for our family, when we are in the car, we usually talk. They may be singing, they may be listening to something, listen to a podcast or something like that. But I use those as teachable moments. Can you think of some of the times in the car where we might learn about something or mommy might teach you something?
Maybe if you're like reading a book to us or something.
Would I be reading a book to you while I'm driving?
No, but Dad might be driving.
Oh, okay. So she's referring to the times when I might read aloud if their dad is driving, which by the way is not normal or super frequent. That would usually be like what on a long car drive if we're going to another state. And I may read them a book, but you're right. That is a teachable opportunity, a teachable moment, because if we're reading in a book and we come to something we don't understand, then we can talk about it. What about if I'm driving? So if you guys see something outside your window and you say something about it, could that be a teachable moment?
Yeah.
Like what? What might you see out your window?
Like if I see a bird that I don't know about, like I've never seen it before, you might could like tell me something about it.
Yeah, we talk about driving laws quite a bit. You know, if it's raining and we think, okay, we probably need to slow down a little bit, you need to give yourself extra drive time because my oldest is 13 and one day before we know it, he will be driving. So, driving around with your children, if you are able to talk with them, those are awesome opportunities for you to learn with your child. Another thing that we do is we use some time in the kitchen to learn. Can you tell them some of the things we do in the kitchen to learn?
Sometimes you might let me and Weston like cook some brownies, and you might tell us what to do.
So let's say if you are cooking brownies, I know that you and your brother made brownies recently, all on your own. So can you share some of those things that you guys did that you knew how to do all on your own because we had practiced together?
One time me and Weston made corn muffins.
How did you know how to make them?
Um,
Okay, so did you have a box with instructions?
Yeah.
Okay, so you could say you know where to find the instructions to make brownies if we buy a brownie box.
Yeah, it's always on the back.
Okay, so if I were to ask you, and this is totally not planned, I'm just wondering if you know this. Okay, if we walk in from the store and you have a brownie box and you say I'm going to make brownies, what do you think might be one of the first things you should do before you really start making them?
Look and check if you have eggs.
Well, that is true. That's happened once or twice, right? But what might you do to the oven?
You need to set it.
Yeah.
You need to preheat it.
Preheat it. Okay, so you can see preheat is in her vocabulary because we talked about that by reading the instructions, something so simple. Now, if your child is in school, they may do something. I know I did this a couple times when I was a teacher, but they might have a worksheet, and the worksheet might have a brownie recipe, and then the kid has to answer questions about the brownie recipe. But since we homeschool, she actually learns by just doing it with us and having that experience. So I want you to just be thinking in your mind, what can I teach my child how to do? And maybe you have a dad or a grandparent or some other person that is close with your child, and they need to be finding those moments where they can teach your child what to do. It might be safety issues, how to stay safe in this situation. I know we talk about that a lot. If we're going into a store, what are some of the things I've told you about safety?
Like always look for an exit in case a shooter or someone comes.
Yes. And so, I don't do that to scare my kids, but in this day and age, we just really need to be prepared anyway. And so it's always good to know when you walk in. I always think of like Jason Bourne and the Bourne Identity movies and how he was trained to just like walk in and observe everything going on. And while we may not be that great, I want my children to know and to think ahead, what would I do in this situation? What does mommy want me to do? And I know I've had certain conversations with my oldest child too, because I know he would help me with the younger children if that were the case. And just crossing the road, right? Just walking in from a parking lot. If Here are a few other examples to think about. If you pass by an ambulance, that's an opportunity to talk about safety. It's also an opportunity if you want to say a prayer for the person in the ambulance or the people helping them. If you pass by an interesting house or a structure, you can talk about shapes or designs, or maybe why it was designed that way, or why the sign is that color. Did you have a thought you want to share?
Mm.
Okay. Um, Even if you stop at a stoplight, okay, that's an opportunity that you could talk about patience or even stopping distance and making sure you're looking both ways. I know something we've discussed with our children is when you do have a green light and you go, it's always best to still look both ways because there may be someone else sliding by and running a red light. Let's talk about some teachable moments outdoors. Now, you might be at a park, you might be at a hike, but one of the things to keep in mind is to stop and smell the roses. We are so busy in today's world, but just the art of asking questions to your child, like, oh, what do you think that plant is? Why is that plant shaped that way? Or look at this leaf. Why does this leaf look different than that leaf? And it doesn't mean you have to have all the answers. I mean, we do have this with us that we can look up something if we're wondering about. And even the process of looking up information is a teachable moment because you can teach your child internet safety. You can teach them about what websites are trustworthy and what websites aren't. Just noticing things throughout the day. Everything you do is an opportunity to teach your child. Here are a few more examples that actually did happen to us. The other day when we were at the grocery store and we were walking down the aisle, I noticed that somehow, some way, a fabric softener sheet was out of the box and it was down on the ground. Do you remember when that happened? Do you remember what I said about that?
No.
So it was obviously she didn't learn from that teachable moment. Do you know how that would be dangerous if a fabric softener sheet was in?
Someone could slip.
Yes, obviously. So we took an opportunity to talk about being a good citizen and picking up that trash and throwing it away. Um, or at least maybe if you don't want to touch it with your hands, just move it with your foot and slide it out of the way. Now, this is not meant to be exhaustive. I can't possibly list all the ways in which you can teach your child. I just wanted to get you in the mindset of thinking and asking your child questions and having conversations with them. If your child always has earbuds in their ears, if they always have a device in their hands, what time are you really talking with your child? If you're not sitting at the dinner table and having dinner together and sharing about your day, you are losing out on opportunities to influence your child for the better and have those teachable moments. They are still learning from you, but they may not be learning as much as they could, and they may not be learning as many positives. Just sit and reflect for a little while. What questions can I be asking my child? What things can I show them? Because really, we should be in the mindset of we're training our children for a time where one day we won't be there and they won't be living in our house, and just training them for the real world in general. Parents, remember, you are your child's most influential teacher, and you have that power to influence them in so many wonderful ways. So make use of it. If you haven't yet, click like and subscribe. And if you have a comment or something to share, please make sure you put that in the comment section below. If you look in the description, you will also find some free resources and some other useful resources on my website, theparentteacherbridge.com.